Welcome to the Ask the Geographer podcast series, brought to you by the Education Department at the Royal Geographical Society with IBG. I'm Rachel, your host, and in each episode, I'll be joined by geographers from across the globe to delve into current events, publications, and research all tied to the fascinating world of geography. Mark Maslin is a leading scientist with expertise in climate change and the major challenges facing humanity in the 21st century. He has published over 230 papers in journals such as Science, Nature and The Lancet. He is a Professor of Earth System Science at UCL and the lead for climate, health and security at the United Nations University. He is Joint Pro-Vice Provost of the UCL Climate Crisis Grand Challenge. Using his experience, Mark advises a range of companies on green transition and has also been a specialist advisor for the UK Parliament on climate change and security. Welcome to the podcast, Mark.
Thank you, Rachel. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're well known as both a writer and an expert on climate change with frequent media appearances where you've highlighted key issues to a wide range of audiences. What's your opening message to our audience about key challenges we face?
So I think we face four main challenges in the 21st century. Climate change, environmental degradation, inequality or poverty, however you want to look at it, and global security. We can unpick each one of those. So if we think about climate change, 2024 was the warmest year we've ever had on record, where temperatures were 1.6 degrees above the pre-industrial temperature. Now, if we think about that, 10 years ago in Paris, world leaders agreed that we're going to keep temperatures to just 1.5 degrees warming, and we've already pushed through that. If we think about environmental degradation, we have a huge issue with land use changes, deforestation. We dump about 3 million tons of plastic in the ocean every single year. We have loss of biodiversity. We have pollution events all around the world. And then if we look at inequality and poverty, 750 million people do not have enough food and go to bed feeling hungry every night. We have about 2 billion people. Okay, that's 1 in 4 people that don't have access to safe drinking water. And then we look at global security when we have major wars in Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, we have the Sudanese civil war, and we also have civil conflicts in Myanmar. We have conflicts everywhere. So in the 21st century, we need to be able to deal with each one of these challenges and actually deal with them together in a holistic way. That's where geography comes in.
Certainly. And thinking about climate change and sustainability, how might our listeners become better informed about the roles they could play in helping alleviate the challenges we all face?
So I think the first thing is that we should all be as informed as possible about the world. And I don't just mean climate change and sustainability, but we should be informed about politics, science, the arts. And to do this, you need lots of different mediums. So, of course, I love reading. So reading is a really important way of doing that. Listening to podcasts. I listen to a huge range of podcasts and I do it in the gym. So it's sort of like a dual thing, which is, oh, I really want to listen to the podcast. Oh, I have to go to the gym. Or I feel guilty, I have to go to the gym. Great, I can listen to my podcasts. But there's also things like watching documentaries, listening to teachers and professors, but also discussing things with your peers. So much of our learning is about throwing ideas and arguing with our friends and colleagues about the major issues of today. But I think we have to also empower our students to be very selective, because it's not like the old days where you just picked up a textbook and that will provide you. There is so much out there, and a lot of it is fake news, fake documentaries, or opinions which aren't based on evidence but are based on political views and a different way of thinking about the world. So again, we need to train ourselves to be as informed as possible, make sure that we can make the right decisions, but using the right material with trusted sources. And that also, and I'll say this also includes influencers. There are a lot of really good influence out there that I would trust. They are voices of reason, they provide information, factual evidence, but they also provide opinions to lay on top of that. And again, it's sorting out the good and the bad to make sure that you're informed.
Definitely. And in your opinion, what do you think the difference is between individual and collective actions?
So this is where the tension comes in. I think this is where the stress, and we do have to talk about climate anxiety. Many of us, particularly young people, are stressed about the state of the world and their lack of ability to sort it out. Now, so we have to separate. These are huge problems. Okay, these are global issues that need nations and international cooperation to fix. Okay, we take climate change. Every country in the world needs to get to net zero emissions by 2050. Now, we can't do that as individuals. But what we can do is as individuals and as local communities do our bit. So there's lots of things that individuals can do themselves, but also we can take collective action. We can demand change of our leaders. And again, we are so lucky in this country to be in a democracy where we can vote for change. We can vote for different leaders. We can also go out and protest and make sure the leaders realize that this is important to the population. I also think collectively, again, one of my greatest tools to combat climate anxiety is to make sure that people work together. If we're working in a local community and we're making our school better, or we're making our local football team better, or we're making our sort of like church or our community group better, that is a collective thing that us humans do really, really well.
So more on the fact that it's actually more of a community approach rather than individual actions on their own.
No, so I think individuals can do a lot, and selfishly, a lot for ourselves. So for my takeaway is, as an individual, if we're going to deal with some of these issues, the first thing we need to do is talk about them. If you think about climate change, this is the greatest threat that humanity's ever faced. And we sort of don't talk about it. It's like, shh, let's not talk about it and maybe it'll go away. So the first thing is talk about it. And you'll find that as soon as you open up and talk to your friends, colleagues, etc., they suddenly go, oh, yeah, I'm worried like that. I've been really lucky. I've worked with many companies, and one of them, which is worth about, I think, 5 billion euros now. 10 years ago, some people, middle management, got together over the coffee machine and just went, oh, I'm really worried about this. And somebody said, so am I. So they started a small sustainable group. And this sustainability group, what they did was actually think of some ideas, etc. Within 5 years, they'd infected the whole company. And the company went from, I don't know what environment is, to winning high praise and awards for things like the Carbon Disclosure Project. So sometimes individuals can have real power just by talking, and that talking leading to action. Second thing that we can all do is move to a more plant-based diet. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about giving up meat completely, but how about only having meat once a month, as a treat, And of course, I have to confess that I am mainly plant-based. I am vegetarian, but every so often the call goes out and I have a sneaky steak, okay? I feel guilty about it for weeks, but oh, it's so nice. But it's also that win-win because, of course, that greatly improves your health. And so therefore, improved health, improve the health of your children, increase your longevity, and at the same time, you're saving the planet. Win-win. Hey, brilliant. And then there's other things we can do. Now, of course, if you happen to be able to control sort of where you live, then guess what? You can switch to renewable energy. You can walk and cycle more instead of driving. If you have to drive, hopefully you have a hybrid or an electric car. Hey, they're really cool nowadays. And of course, you can also then think about, well, do I need to fly to that meeting? Do I need to fly that holiday? So you can make these choices. The fourth one I say that everybody can do is buy stuff. Now, we all have to buy stuff. We have to consume. Now, we might not want to consume as much as we do, And again, I think COVID really showed us that actually consumption isn't what makes us happy. What makes us happy is doing this, talking to each other, going out with your mates, sort of like being able to hug your grandmother. Those are the things that make us happy as humans. So do more of those. On the flip side, we have to consume, okay? We have to clothe ourselves, we have to eat, etc. So make sustainable choices. Now, you're not always going to get it right, but if everybody tries to move to sustainable sort of like clothing, to food, and all of that, it sends big signals because, of course, companies want your money. So therefore, when you do that, you signal that change. And so again, those are the things that individuals can do. And collectively, when there's millions and millions of people doing the same thing, guess what? Everybody shifts.
Definitely. And you touched on it a little bit in terms of companies, but what would you say to a school student who wants to make a difference during their career and doesn't know how best to work out the next steps?
So I think there's two questions in there. And one that I was asked a few years ago when I was giving a schools talk, a young lady stuck her hand up and she said, "What's the best career I should do to help save the planet?" And my answer was, any career you want to. So for me, it is follow your passion. If you're an artist, become an artist. If you're a musician, be a musician. If you're good with numbers and you're going to become an accountant, be the best accountant you can be. The reason being is because every field that we are going to work in is going to have to deal with sustainability, is going to have to deal with climate change. So if you happen to be in fashion, that's going to have to shift. That's going to have a huge shift from fast fashion to slow fashion and to have much more sustainability built in. If you happen to be an accountant, I was once quoted by a Scottish newspaper, which will remain nameless, that basically their headline was, "Accountants will save the planet." I'm not sure I'm quite convinced by that. But what I'm saying is that when companies now have to report their greenhouse gas emissions, their water usage, their energy usage, and things like that, people with numbers have to get involved because they have to be able to prove the numbers, measure them, put it against a benchmark. So accountants, not just money accountants, but carbon accountants, are going to be absolutely essential in the future. So the answer to young people is do the career you want to, because sustainability will always be there. And if you're doing it and you have that wonderful view of sustainability, you can make your job as green as possible throughout your career.
Certainly. Is there anything else you would like to share with us in conclusion?
So I'm going to have to say the one reason that I stay positive about the future, and this is with the weight of knowledge. I know all about climate change. I can see all of the environmental degradation. I can see all the pollution. I research it. I can see the damage that the conflicts are doing. One of the key things that keeps me going is that when we engage with young people, the new generation coming through has a different world view. Very, very different to some of the old people I have to deal with. And again, it's about a holistic idea about how the earth works. It's about climate change and sustainability, and that shared understanding that we can have a much better world, which people can share wealth, can share resources, can actually control sort of like the amount they consume. We all then have a better life. We're healthier. We live longer. We can have much more of the stuff that we love doing, which is interacting and socializing, without destroying the planet. And I think that is the really, really important message, which is we have a generation coming through that is angry with us because we haven't sorted out the problem yet. They are passionate about the planet and how to save it. And hey, I have to say this, because this is the RGS and I am a geographer. At the forefront is always going to be geographers. And one of the things I'm going to say to the audience out there is, trust me, you have no idea where geography is going to take you, because I've got colleagues and students who are in government, who are head of fashion for massive fashion houses. I've got them in NGOs and I've got them working in banks, okay? We get everywhere.
We do indeed. Mark, thank you for joining us and sharing your expertise on climate change, sustainability, and a lot more. We hope this conversation has helped both students and teachers think about the role they can play, whether through individual choices or collective action, in tackling the challenges ahead. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe to the Ask the Geographer podcast series on soundcloud.com or your preferred streaming platform. Dive deeper into the world of geography and stay informed with our wide range of resources, many of which are available for free. School membership grants access to even more resources, including online lectures and supporting materials for both teachers and learners. Explore our resources and discover our additional offers for education at www.rgs.org/schools.